Hi guys, welcome to 30 and Learning. Today I want to talk about calories versus macronutrients and what they mean in terms of weight management. I have sort of touched upon this topic in several of my previous videos, but today I just want to get into the details of it. So what is calorie? Simply, calorie is a unit of energy. Speaking in terms of science, 1 calorie is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So say if a serving of food has 100 calories, what that means is that when you burn that single serving of that food and use the heat that is generated in the process to heat water, 1 kg of water, the temperature will rise by 100 degrees Celsius. So essentially, you can convert ice to steam. Now, macronutrients or macros, as they're commonly referred to, are different than calories. They are not a unit of measurement, but they are the various food groups that make up our diet. The various macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. There are micronutrients as well, which are the minerals and vitamins, but we're not going to talk about those for now. The various types of macros provide different amount of energy for equal measurement by weight. So 1 gram of carbohydrate provides about 4 calories. 1 gram of protein provides about the same amount, whereas 1 gram of fats provide 9 calories. Many people, when they're thinking about losing weight, simply think in terms of calories, but as we just saw, different food groups provide us with different amount of calories. The reason I started looking at this in so much detail is because when I first switched to Indian diet at the beginning of this year, although I was eating the same amount of calories, I was just looking different. I wasn't different on the scale, but I was different in the mirror. So carbs are mostly sugars. They could be simple sugars or complex sugars like starch, but we won't get into that level of detail. The other kind of carbs is also fiber. Sugars metabolize in the body to produce glycogen, which is stored and used by the body periodically for its energy needs. And when there is a spillover, the rest of it is stored as fat. So say if your daily calorie requirement is 1500 calories and you get all of that from carbs, what's going to happen is that once your body has used what it needs, it's going to store the rest as fat. So what will end up happening is that you'll probably gain a lot more fat, if not weight. So why won't you gain weight? This is exactly what happened to me when my carb to protein ratio increased considerably. Protein is the food for muscle. In addition to the glycogen produced by carbs, muscles also need amino acids in order to grow, or at the very least in order to sustain. When you eat more carbs than what your body needs and less protein than what your muscles want, you'll end up gaining fat and losing muscle. So if you gain a pound of fat and lose a pound of muscle, the scale won't go up, but the tape measure will, and that's because the same weight of fat takes a lot more space than the same weight of muscle. So it is very important to get enough protein in your diet. The last macro is fat, and as I've said before, not all fats are created equal. There's the good fat and there's the bad fat. So what we want to eat is the good fat. Some examples of good fat are nuts, avocado, oils like olive oil, coconut oil, and eggs. Good fats help us manage weight in 3 ways. First of all, just because they take longer to digest, they keep us full for longer periods of time than carbs. Secondly, they also don't trigger the release of insulin, which promotes fat storage in the body. And finally, they help our body to learn how to use fat for energy, and which is what ketosis is all about. So you might ask that what is the right amount of macronutrient that you should be eating? Well, that is a very complicated question, and I could probably do a whole video on just that. Your requirement for different macronutrients varies with your body type, it varies with your activity level, it varies with your age. So there are a lot of factors that come into play when deciding an ideal diet for someone, but broadly speaking, for an average person, 50% carbs, 30% protein, and 20% fat is a good breakdown. For fat loss, you can reduce your percentage of carb a little bit and up your protein and fat, or you can do something that I like to do, and that's carb cycling. So you can refer to my many videos on carb cycling to see the macronutrient breakdown that I follow. So that's all I had for today. It's a short and sweet video, but it's jam-packed with information, and information that I hope you find useful. And exciting news. This coming week, I am going to complete my 4 weeks of the new carb cycle. So in next week's video, I want to share my progress and my experience of these 4 weeks. So stay tuned. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.